General Hospital spoilers for the next 2 weeks, March 10th to March 21st reveal that Willow is preparing to make a significant move, one that will send shockwaves through Port Charles. She has made the decision to leave behind the life she built with Michael and relocate to Drew's residence, setting the stage for a new chapter filled with uncertainty, unresolved emotions, and hidden agendas. On the surface, it may seem like a fresh start, but underneath it all, a storm is brewing, one that will test loyalties, expose long-buried tensions, and lead to an inevitable explosion. Drew welcomes Willow into his home, seeing this as an opportunity to solidify his influence and deepen the trust between them. He plays the role of the understanding confidant, the protector, the man who can provide her with stability in a time of transition. But there is something darker at play, an obsession, a need for control that is growing stronger with each calculated move. Drew's vision of the future is unfolding exactly as he wants, and for now, Willow is simply another piece in the puzzle he is assembling. However, not everyone is willing to stand by and watch this unfold. Carly, always protective of those she loves, sees the warning signs. She knows Drew too well, and she refuses to let him manipulate Willow into his web of deception. But more than that, Carly is still the guardian of Michael's legacy, both financially and emotionally. The power that Michael once held, the empire he built, is still very much in Carly's hands. And Drew, for all his calculated moves, cannot erase that. That is where the battle truly begins. Carly is ready to strike, ready to remind Drew that she is not someone who can be outmaneuvered. He may think that he is in control, that he is untouchable, but Carly is a force he cannot ignore. The more Drew tries to exert his influence, the more determined Carly becomes to take him down. Their conflict, once simmering beneath the surface, is now on the verge of a full-scale war. And Willow, caught in the middle of it all, may soon realize that her escape from one complicated situation has landed her in another far more dangerous. As she settles into her new home, the walls around her are closing in, and the truth about Drew's true intentions may come at a cost she is not prepared to pay. This is not just a shift in living arrangements, it is the beginning of something far bigger, something that will shake the foundation of Port Charles. And when the inevitable explosion happens, no one, least of all Drew, will be prepared for the fallout. Sidwell is about to unleash a new wave of destruction, and his actions will leave a trail of bodies in his wake. The deaths he orchestrates will not just be random acts of violence, they will be calculated, deliberate, and designed to serve his greater purpose. But as the bodies start piling up, a new layer of chaos emerges, one that threatens to engulf the entire town in paranoia and fear. The fallout from his deadly game will send shockwaves through Port Charles, turning allies against each other and placing innocent lives in the crosshairs. What makes this even more catastrophic is the way the blame is about to be shifted. Somehow, Sidwell manages to redirect suspicion onto Alexis, weaving a web of deception that places her at the center of the unfolding disaster. The accusations against her are not just whispers, they are loud, damning, and backed by seemingly irrefutable evidence. It is a masterstroke of manipulation, and as the pressure mounts, Alexis finds herself fighting not just to clear her name, but to uncover the truth behind who is really pulling the strings. As the city reels from the mounting death toll, what started as speculation quickly spirals into a full-blown crisis. Alexis, once seen as a respected figure in Port Charles, is now forced to defend herself from allegations that could destroy everything she has worked for. The legal world she once commanded with confidence is now closing in on her, and with every new development, the walls tighten around her. But Alexis is not one to go down without a fight. She knows that the truth is buried somewhere within the chaos, and she refuses to let Sidwell walk away unscathed. With her reputation on the line and the threat of a deeper conspiracy lurking in the shadows, she embarks on a mission to expose the real mastermind. But the deeper she digs, the more dangerous the game becomes. Every step forward places her in greater peril, as those who are truly responsible for the deaths are determined to silence her before she can uncover the full scope of the plan. As Port Charles is thrown into a state of unrest, a full-scale investigation is launched. Law enforcement, journalists, and those seeking justice all converge in a desperate attempt to piece together what is happening. The tension builds, the stakes rise, and the truth remains just out of reach. But one thing is clear, Sidwell has set something in motion that cannot be undone. And as Alexis fights to prove her innocence, she will have to navigate a treacherous path filled with deception, betrayal, and an enemy who is always one step ahead. With a town in chaos, a rising death count, and the hunt for answers intensifying, the battle for justice is only beginning. The question now is, will Alexis be able to expose the truth before it's too late? Or will Sidwell's deadly game claim yet another victim? Geoffrey Beckett is about to make his grand entrance in Port Charles, and his arrival is set to send shockwaves through the town. His presence isn't just a passing occurrence, it is an event, an unfolding mystery that brings with it an air of power, danger, and intrigue. No one knows exactly why he is here, but one thing is clear. His arrival will upend lives, shift alliances, and ignite a firestorm of conflicts that no one will be able to contain. At the center of this explosive arrival is Nina, who finds herself drawn into Geoffrey's orbit in a way she never expected. Whether it is through business, personal connections, or something far more dangerous, Geoffrey has a presence that demands attention, and Nina, always one to seek out influence and control, cannot ignore it. What begins as a seemingly strategic interest soon turns into something much more complicated, something far more alluring, and far more destructive. Geoffrey is not a man who operates without a plan. His presence in Port Charles is no coincidence. He has chosen this moment, this place, for a reason, and that reason will soon become apparent. Is he here to settle old scores? To seize power? To uncover secrets that were meant to stay buried? Whatever his agenda may be, it is clear that he is playing a long game, one that will drag several key players into its grasp before the dust settles. As Geoffrey maneuvers through Port Charles, his influence begins to ripple outward. He is not just here to observe, he is here to make moves, to challenge the existing power structures, to bend the rules in ways that will force even the most calculating minds to rethink their strategies. He knows how to read people, how to exploit weaknesses, how to turn a simple conversation into a high-stakes battle for control. And as he sets his sights on Nina, it becomes clear that she is in for a challenge unlike any she has faced before. But Nina is not the only one who will be affected by Geoffrey's presence. His arrival signals a turning point, a moment of transformation for Port Charles itself. Old rivalries will be reignited, new alliances will be formed, and secrets long hidden will be exposed in ways that no one saw coming. He is not just a man, he is a force of change, and by the time he is done, nothing will be the same. The town is on the edge of something big, something that cannot be undone. As Geoffrey Beckett's true motives begin to unfold, one thing becomes clear, Port Charles is about to experience a reckoning. And when the dust settles, the question won't just be what changed, it will be who survived. The fate of Lois has been sealed, marking the end of an era and ushering in a wave of uncertainty that will reshape Port Charles. Her departure is not just a personal loss for those closest to her, it is a catalyst for change, a moment that ignites new tensions, deepens old wounds, and sets the stage for conflicts that have been brewing beneath the surface. What should have been a transition into the next chapter of life is instead spiraling into something far more complicated, something that leaves behind a trail of unanswered questions and emotional turmoil. At the heart of this shift is Brooke Lynn, who is struggling to come to terms with the loss. Lois has been a guiding force in her life, a mother, a mentor, and at times, her fiercest critic. Their relationship was filled with highs and lows, but no matter what, there was always love. Now, without Lois, Brooke Lynn is left feeling unmoored, forced to confront the realities of her future without the one person who always had her back. But instead of breaking her, this loss is igniting something else, an unshakable determination to step up, take control, and ensure that the legacy Lois leaves behind is not forgotten. However, Brooke Lynn is not the only one facing a reckoning. Lulu, slowly reclaiming her place in Port Charles after her long absence, finds herself stepping into the fray as well. Her return has already stirred up emotions and unsettled the balance, and now, with Lois gone, she is being pulled even deeper into the drama. The history between Lulu and Brooke Lynn has always been complicated. Rivalry, resentment, and grudging respect have defined their dynamic for years. But now, they are facing a situation where they may have no choice but to work together, even if that means confronting their differences head-on. But their uneasy alliance comes with complications, and one of the biggest questions looming over them is the future of Geo. With Lois gone, Brooklyn is suddenly faced with unexpected responsibilities, ones that she is still trying to navigate. What is best for Geo? Who truly has his best interests at heart? And as Lulu steps into the picture, will she become a source of support, or another obstacle in an already complicated situation? As tensions rise and emotions run high, the battle between Brooklyn and Lulu is set to explode. They are both strong-willed, passionate, and unwilling to back down. Their clash is not just about personal grievances, it is about legacy, responsibility, and the undeniable pull of family ties. Whether they are standing on the same side or fighting against each other, one thing is clear: their actions in the coming weeks will change the course of Port Charles in ways no one can predict. And in the midst of all this, the shadow of Lois looms large. Her presence may no longer be felt in the same way, but her impact remains undeniable. She was a force of nature, a woman who lived life on her own terms, and now, her absence leaves a void that cannot easily be filled. Brooklyn and Lulu may both be fighting their own battles, but one thing unites them: the need to honor what Lois stood for, to carry her strength forward, and to make sure that no matter what happens, her influence is never forgotten. But the road ahead is treacherous. The deeper Brooklyn and Lulu get into this fight, the more the stakes rise. And as unexpected alliances form, as secrets come to light, and as new challenges emerge, the one thing they both thought they could rely on, their own sense of control, begins to slip through their fingers. This is not just a goodbye to Lois. It is the beginning of something far greater, something that will shake Port Charles to its core. And as the battle lines are drawn, one question remains: will Brooklyn and Lulu find a way to navigate this storm together, or will the forces pulling them apart prove to be too strong to resist? The answers are coming, and when they do, nothing will ever be the same again. In Buenos Aires, Valentine prepares for an emotional farewell to Charlotte, a moment that should have been nothing more than a father saying goodbye to his beloved daughter. But fate has other plans. What should have been a quiet, deeply personal departure instead serves as the prelude to something far greater, an event so explosive that it will shake the very foundations of Port Charles. The air is thick with tension, an unspoken sense that something is about to go terribly wrong. Valentine is no stranger to danger, yet this time, there is an eerie finality to his steps, as if he is walking toward a fate he cannot escape. Charlotte, unaware of the storm brewing around them, clings to her father, wanting to hold on just a little longer. But Valentine knows time is running out. He whispers words of comfort, reassurances that may not hold true, as he tries to mask the underlying fear creeping into his voice. Deep down, he knows that this might be the last time he sees her, though he refuses to let that thought take root. He has survived impossible odds before, why should this be any different? Meanwhile, Jason and Anna have stepped into the heart of the danger, unaware of just how deeply entwined their lives are about to become. Their mission in Buenos Aires is supposed to be straightforward, a calculated move to eliminate a growing threat. But what neither of them realizes is that they are walking into a deadly trap, one that will change them both forever. The longer they work together, the closer they become. The lines between personal and professional have already begun to blur, the weight of shared danger forging a bond that neither of them anticipated. Jason, who has spent a lifetime shielding himself from emotional entanglements, finds himself drawn to Anna in a way that is unsettling. She is different from anyone he has been close to, calculating, brilliant, yet vulnerable in ways he never expected. And for Anna, Jason is a mystery she never thought she would unravel, a man whose loyalty runs deeper than words, whose presence offers a kind of safety she hasn't felt in years. As the night falls over Buenos Aires, the inevitable happens. Their partnership, already laced with unspoken tension, finally gives way to something more. One reckless moment, one undeniable pull between them, and suddenly, they find themselves crossing a line neither of them saw coming. What should have been a simple mission has turned into something else entirely, something that neither of them can take back. But as passion consumes them, the world around them is falling apart. Because while Jason and Anna are lost in the heat of the moment, Valentine is walking straight into a death trap. He has always been one step ahead, always able to maneuver through even the most treacherous of circumstances. But this time, there is no escape. This time, the enemy has planned too well, has anticipated every move. And as the final pieces fall into place, the inevitable becomes reality. Valentine will not be leaving Buenos Aires alive. The moment the news reaches Anna, her world shatters. The man she once loved, the man she still feels tied to in ways she cannot explain, is gone. The grief is immediate, but so is the guilt. She was with Jason, lost in the moment, while Valentine was facing his final hour alone. The weight of it is suffocating, a tidal wave of emotions that threatens to pull her under. And Jason, despite his hardened exterior, feels it too. He may not have had the same connection to Valentine, but he understands loss better than most. He watches Anna, sees the way she breaks apart piece by piece, and realizes that nothing about this mission, about what just happened between them, will ever be simple. But the nightmare is far from over. Valentine's death is not just a personal tragedy, it is a turning point. His murder is not random, it is calculated, a message sent by an enemy they have yet to fully understand. And now, with his blood on their hands, Jason and Anna are left to pick up the pieces of a mystery that is far from solved. The fallout is immediate. Charlotte, devastated, refuses to believe her father is truly gone. Laura, blindsided by the news, vows to uncover the truth. And back in Port Charles, those who loved and feared Valentine alike are forced to reckon with the fact that one of the most formidable men they have ever known has been taken down. But the biggest question remains, who is responsible? As Jason and Anna return home, their dynamic forever changed, they must prepare for the next phase of this battle. Because whoever killed Valentine is still out there. And they are not done yet. Buenos Aires was never just another mission. It was the spark that lit a fire, a catalyst for something far bigger than any of them realized. And now, as the storm rages on, Jason and Anna are caught in the middle of a war they never meant to start, one that will push them both to their limits and force them to make choices they may never recover from. And when the dust settles, nothing will ever be the same again.